Okay, again, welcome everybody to Breslov.org. Here we go. It says in the Parsha, Vahi Rav Baretz. Let's understand what was going on. Avraham Avinu went on a very, very long journey, right? Where did Avraham Avinu start from? He was in Haran, right? Right, Haran, right? That's where he started. So Haran today, if you look on the map, it's about 1,000 miles away from Eretz Yisrael. 1,000 miles. Avraham Avinu goes on a journey of about 1,000 miles, but he doesn't have a plane, he doesn't have a helicopter, he doesn't have a Range Rover, he doesn't have a vehicle that's suitable, a Jeep that's suitable to go through the desert. He's traveling with his camel, with his donkeys, through the let's just think it through there were sandstorms in the desert, the thirst that there's in the desert. And he finally makes his way to Eretz Yisrael. He finally makes his way to where Hashem wants him to go. And what happens when he gets there? Vayihi Rav Baretz. There's a famine in the land. Wow. A famine in the land. He makes this long journey thinking now I'm going to get to where Hashem wants me to be. It'll be nice. Hashem will have me. It'll be nice and plush, lush, and everything will be good for me. No, he gets it as a famine in the land. What's going on? So there was a famine in the land, and Avraham Avinu went down to Mitzrayim. Right? That's the story, right? He finally makes his way to Eretz Yisrael. He sets up his tent. He makes him his bayach. He brings a carbon to Hashem, right? He calls b'shem Hashem. And then he goes to the market to see what's there. There's nothing to buy. There's no food. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's a famine going on in Eretz Yisrael, specifically at that time. Rashi brings that this was a very big test for Avraham Avinu, again, because he just finished this long journey to get to where Hashem told him to go, and he gets there, and that is a famine. He was told by Hashem to go to Eretz Yisrael. He has no choice but to leave there because there's no food. What's he going to do? We have to always know how to go up and to go down, and we have to be a bucky in that, to know whenever we're going and we have an aliyah in our avodas Hashem, things are going good. And that's an aliyah, ayil. That's the ayil. But then, when sometimes you have that aliyah, then right away comes after that the nafuk. We go down. But to know that we always have to stay in line. Right? We're going to have with Yaakov Avinu in a few weeks there, right? There was the Sula Mutzav Arza, the Roishe Megia Shemaima, right? What's the lesson in that? Yaakov Avinu understood that even if I'm down here, which is the nafik in our case, it's down, falling down, or I'm going up on high, I have to stay on the ladder. What's the significance of a ladder? When you're on a ladder, you can go up and down, but you can't go to the right or the left. If you go to the right, you'll fall off the ladder. If you go to the left, you'll fall off the ladder. You can always go up and down the ladder, but you can't change any other direction. Livli lipo bedate mizeh mikol shekain shalei lahar achar Hashem yisbarach rak lahamin ki tzadik Hashem v'yosher mishpatav. Because Avraham Avinu could have a lot of questions on Hashem at the moment, right? He was an older man, and he finally comes to where Hashem tells him to come to, and now he has to pack up again. He just set himself up, and he has to pack himself up again, and now travel all the way to Egypt. He had a good question, but Avraham Avinu was a mamin, and he understood that if Hashem sends me to Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem there's no food over here, then Hashem wants me to go to where there's food, and I'm going to go to where there's food, and I'm not going to question Hashem because Hashem is tzaddik v'yosher. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu only wants what's good for me eternally. Hashem wants what's eternally good for me, and that's all He wants for us. As it was by Avraham Avinu, when he specifically comes to Eretz Yisrael, like Hashem tells him, and specifically there is a famine. What? He just went on this long journey, and now there has to be a famine. What, Hashem couldn't wait for the famine to come another time? It had to be specifically right now, as soon as he gets there. He had to go all the way from Eretz Yisrael down to Mitzrayim. And that's a Yerida. That's the Yerida Mamish. You have to go from Eretz Yisrael all the way down to Mitzrayim. That's the Yerida. He didn't question Hashem. He understood what Hashem is doing is good for him, and he didn't care. And he went down to Mitzrayim, and he passed the test in Mitzrayim. Until he went up from Mitzrayim laden, heavy with cattle, and he had gold and silver. He was so wealthy when he left Mitzrayim. But the Svarim say that the real wealth that he went up with were the nitzaitis, that he picked up the sparks of purity, that he rescued from Mitzrayim. That was the real true wealth that he actually acquired. Shebeirisham Kemuva, as he clarified over there in Mitzrayim. This happens now, this idea happens to all of us. As Rabbi Nachman taught us in lesson 8 in the Kutei Maran. It's a wonderful lesson. We learned it together. We learned that lesson in lesson 8 on Chanukah. That all Yeridus, this whole idea of a Yerida, that we have aliyahs and Yeridus in our lives, the whole idea of a Yerida comes from this pasuk. Vayered Avram Mitzrayim. Avram went down to Mitzrayim. And the next pasuk, Vayal Avram Mitzrayim. Avram went up from Mitzrayim, and that's the Aliyah. So you see it from these two psukim. Vayered Avram Mitzrayim. That's the Yerida, and the Aliyah is Vayal Avram Mitzrayim. Shekol zeh bechinas baki ba'ayil ubaki benafik. We have to be baki ba'ayil, baki benafik. We have to know how to go up right in a good, safe way, and we have to know how to go to weather the Yerida in order to come back to what which is really litzayrich the Aliyah. And that's what it means. He went on his journey and he came back to where his tent was initially. See, Avraham Avinu set up his tent in Eretz Canaan. He set up his tent, and then he had to pack up his tent and go to Mitzrayim. When he comes back, now he sets up his tent exactly in the same place his tent was in the first place when he got there. He sets up the tent in that same spot. Why? In the same place where he made the Mizbeach the first time when he arrived in Eretz Yisrael the first time. Vayikra Sham Avram b'Shem Hashem, and Avram Avinu calls out to Hashem b'Shem Hashem. We were learning about the Shem Hashem before, right? He calls out to Hashem b'Shem Hashem. Uperish Rashi. Rashi says on that, v'gam achshav kara Sham b'Shem Hashem. Rashi brings it. He also says Hashem's. He calls out to Hashem now. In other words, Avraham Avinu didn't change. Even though he could have had so many questions. Why do I come over here and I have to go down to Mitzrayim? And look at the troubles he had in Mitzrayim. Look at the trouble he had. His wife was taking my power. He had all that trouble in Mitzrayim. And he had so many questions, but we see he wasn't fazed by it. He comes back to Eretz Yisrael. He sets up his tent over there. He called B'Shem Hashem when he came to Eretz Yisrael the first time. And he calls again B'Shem Hashem the same way he did in the first time. He has no questions. He doesn't have any problems. He understands it's all good. It's all the Taivas side. He understands it's all for his good. Hainu, Kishem is Gabrin, B'chinas v'nafik, B'chala Yeridas she'yarad l'sham. Whenever we have a time of Yerida in our life, and you feel disconnected from Hashem, you feel far away, you feel like you don't understand what's going on. Until you can come back and you understand that Hashem is doing this for us for our good, and we can then come back. We come back and we go in our original way that we did. So in other words, the person, let's use a practical example. The person every day, he's doing his daf yomi, and he's doing his baididis, and he's doing his parsha, he's learning halach, he's doing what he's supposed to do. And then chas shalom, he gets sick for a week. He gets sick. What happens, right? He can't get out of bed. He has the flu. Chas shalom. Anyone should have that. But he has the flu and he can't get out of bed for a week. What does he do? So that's a yerida, right? He's doing his right thing. That's an aliyah. He does his learning. He does his avodas, everything that's the aliyah. Right? And now he gets sick. That's a yerida. So now does he get upset at Hashem? Does he get upset? Hey Hashem, why am I sick now? What is this? I have to do my learning. I have to do my things. What am I? No, he just stays. He does what he can while he's sick. But when he gets better, he starts his avodah all over again. He does his daf again, and he does his parsha, and he does his halach, and does whatever he does. His baidus, he does it all again the same way he did it the first time. The same way Avraham Avinu. He comes to Eretz Yisrael, and he sets up his tent, and he makes him his bayah, and he calls out B'Shem Hashem. He has to go down to Mitzrayim, all the way to Mitzrayim, and he deals with whatever went on over there. And then he comes back to Eretz Yisrael. Now he sets up the tent in the same place, and he calls out B'Shem Hashem. Rashi says the same way he did it the first time. L'achsa likra b'shem Hashem, ki ma'it shebetchila. Vayikra Sham Avram b'shem Hashem, v'gam achshav kara b'shem Hashem. Shaloi nafal midarkei hatoiv. He didn't fall in his good ways, in his emunah and Hashem. He didn't fall. He stayed strong and steadfast in his emunah. Mikol ma'ashav all the things that trials and tribulations that happened to Avraham Avinu. Could you only imagine what a trip it was to go from Eretz Yisrael all the way down to Mitzrayim on the journey? All the things that went wrong for them, especially in the things of Kedusha and the Tumah of Mitzrayim. Raku chayze b'chol pam l'darka. He comes back to his way. It didn't matter. Ha'emes likrei tamid la'Hashem. He's about to call out to HaKadosh Baruch. He understood that this is all the ratzon of Hashem, the hashgacha pratis. Vayirah b'aretz. And there was a hunger in the land. He comes to Eretz Yisrael, and that is a hunger. Miramez al kol adam shiroi v'tziyasei lashuk. Shezeu b'chinas v'nafik. The way we have to go out to work in the morning, right? Like we were learning about that before, right? We have to go out to work, right? So we have a hunger. There's a rive, right? We have to go to work. Because we need to make our money. We need to earn our salaries to provide for our families. That's what it was like. There was a hunger, a famine in the land. There was a lack of parnasa. Avraham Avinu went down to Mitzrayim. What? That's the tirdas of the masa matan. That's the worries that we have at doing our business. Shesham sakonas tavis moment. When it comes to business, chas v'shalom, a person can come to the desire of money. And then, like we were saying, he would swear falsely and would do the wrong things, chas v'shalom, because he wants more money. Shu b'chinas avodah zarah, shel b'chinas Mitzrayim. That's Mitzrayim was the place of avodah zarah. Isn't it amazing? They write on $1, "In God we trust." Isn't it amazing? In God we trust on the money. They worship the dollar. It's an avodah zarah mamish. It is, right? Look, this is what he said, which is Mitzrayim. So let's go to okay now.
Mitzrayim.
What? Mitzrayim was a place of avodah zarah. What happened when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Parai? He said, "Hashem send me." So what did Parai tell him? Parai says, he tells his people, "Let me bring out the book of gods." You know, he had a big telephone book of gods, right? And look up, let me see if we find that your God's not registered in my book. Remember? So is that a place of avodah zarah? Huh? Okay. Okay. Ava bechinas Avram shu isha Yisraeli. Avram Avinu is the isha Yisraeli. Shezaycha lias baki ba'ayel benafik. Avram Avinu is a baki ba'ayel benafik. Avram Avinu understood clearly how he goes up and how he goes down and what he's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do. And that's what he's teaching us today. That we have to be a baki berotzi b'shav. That we have to understand that when things are going well for us in our avodas Hashem, to cherish cherish those moments and to do the best that we possibly can. But if Chas v'Shalom something happens that we can't do it, that's the Yerida, that's the Nafik. So don't worry about it. Just stay strong and believe whatever we're going through is because of Hashem needs us to do that. It's good for our good. Stay strong. And then when we get better again, and Hashem, start again. Just go back to the same way. Avraham Avinu went from Eretz Yisrael. He went down to Mitzrayim. And when he called B'Shem Hashem before he left, when he brought the carbon, he comes back to Eretz Yisrael, he brings the carbon again, and he calls B'Shem Hashem, and that's the same message that Avraham Avinu is giving us for today. Okay. It's a very